My girlfriend and I have been in a committed relationship for over 7 years. We've had countless discussions about getting married and starting a family together. A few years ago, she made the decision to leave her job and pursue a medical degree. However, last week I made a shocking discovery. While needing to borrow her phone to make a call, I unlocked it only to find an open WhatsApp conversation between her and an ex-boyfriend from high school, revealing that she had cheated on me. While I don't personally hold any ill will towards the guy, it's frustrating to see her choose someone who doesn't seem to have much ambition. Instead of feeling sad or heartbroken, I find myself filled with anger. I'm angry because I've invested so much in this relationship, believing that she would be the mother of our future children. I'm angry because I've supported her financially through college, covering expenses like rent, food, and tuition. It's just a wave of anger that I'm experiencing. With the landlord's permission, I've made arrangements for a locksmith to change the locks tomorrow while she's in class. I've gathered as much of her belongings as I could find and left them outside. I texted at her to inform her of what I've done and let her know that if she needs anything else, her brother can come and collect it. I have no desire to see or speak to her ever again. Since taking these actions, both my parents and hers have been constantly calling me. They believe that while what she did was wrong, it's not enough reason to throw away the 7+ years we've spent together. They also argue that if I kick her out, she'll be forced to drop out of school and waste years of education. I'm seeking your opinion on this. Am I the one in the wrong here? Should I set aside my pride and approach this situation differently? It's worth mentioning that the lease is solely in my name and she hasn't contributed financially towards the rent throughout her entire time of living here. Update. Well, here's an unexpected turn of events. Today, I was hit with a bombshell. Over the weekend, both sets of parents tried to reach out to me, but I purposely ignored their attempts. However, they knew I couldn't avoid them forever, so they decided to wait for me outside my house when I returned from work. To my surprise, my girlfriend was with them. They insisted that I have a conversation with her, and after some resistance, I finally agreed. Once our parents left, we were left to face each other. Once we were inside, she began to apologize and plead for forgiveness. She expressed how our relationship meant everything to her and that she would never forgive herself for what she had done. It was the typical remorseful speech you'd expect from a cheater. And then she hit me with the most absurd excuse I've ever heard. And she claimed that a few weeks ago she discovered she was pregnant and it led her to have conflicting emotions about settling down and starting a family. According to her, she sought comfort from her ex, and that emotional support escalated into a physical affair. I couldn't make sense of it at all. We've always talked excitedly about starting a family, so it was quite a shock when she pulled out 2 pregnancy tests showing positive results. To further prove her point, she even offered to take another test in front of me, and once again it showed that she was indeed pregnant. According to her, she hadn't cheated on me until after she became pregnant, so she assured me that the baby was 100% mine. Skeptical, I asked to see her phone. Reluctantly, she handed it over, and to my dismay, I discovered countless text messages exchanged between her and the other guy since the time I kicked her out. Feeling overwhelmed, I asked her to wait outside while I processed everything. As she stood outside, I locked the doors, unblocked her on WhatsApp, and composed a lengthy text to express my thoughts and emotions. I'm reciting this from memory, so I don't have to open WhatsApp and see her reply. Whether you decide to have this baby is entirely your choice. However, there are a few things you should know. Firstly, if the child is indeed mine, I will be a responsible father and provide for them. But you need to understand that you will only ever be the mother of my child. We will never reconcile or get back together. The moment you betrayed my trust by cheating, our relationship was irreparably damaged. Secondly, I need you to understand that I will not have any contact with you until the child is born. Please refrain from reaching out to me during this time, as I want nothing to do with you. Finally, I want to make it clear that I will not assume any role in the child's life, nor will I sign any birth certificate until a paternity test is conducted. This situation could have been a beautiful blessing for our relationship and future, but instead, You used it as an excuse to betray me. I will never be able to forgive you for that. As for her reply, I haven't read it and don't plan to tonight. I also won't be providing any further updates on this matter. I have a strong feeling that the child is likely mine, so it seems that I am now forever connected to her through this. Found out my cheating wife had a year-long affair? She is hysterical and pleading me to stay together and fix things because it was a little mistake. Out of the blue, I discovered that my wife, whom I've been married to for 3 years, has been having an affair for the past year with one of her colleagues, someone I know personally. It wasn't intentional on my part, but one day I noticed her logged-in Gmail account on her laptop, and a particular email caught my attention. Curiosity got the better of me, and I ended up checking her phone, which confirmed my worst fears. I'll be honest, this really caught me off guard. Our relationship, up until now at least, seemed solid. We had a strong connection, were intimate regularly, and never had any major conflicts. We met during our college days and dated for nearly 2 years before tying the knot. We were even starting to talk about having children in the near future, especially since I have a stable job and have been making strides in my career. Honestly, I had no suspicions whatsoever. She's clever and managed to hide it well. There were no late nights, no emotional distance, and our intimacy remained intact. She never expressed any dissatisfaction or unhappiness in our relationship. I was completely clueless about any issues. Otherwise, I would have tried to address them. It was through her texts and emails that I discovered they would meet up during lunch breaks or leave work early to go to a hotel or motel. The other guy isn't married, but he does have a long-term girlfriend. I haven't informed her yet, and I haven't confronted the other guy either. Yesterday, I decided to take the day off work and seek solace at my friend's place. I confided in him about everything. As expected, when my wife arrived home, she bombarded me with calls and texts. At first, I ignored them, but eventually I picked up and she immediately burst into tears, begging for my forgiveness. She claimed it was a foolish mistake and pleaded for a chance to reconcile. We talked for a while, but I didn't offer much in terms of a response. I haven't made a decision yet on what I'm going to do. I won't deny that I still love her, but I have zero tolerance for betrayal, and this situation ranks high on that scale. When I was 18, I went through a deep and challenging depression that took me 3 years to overcome. The only thing that helped me during that time was exercise, particularly boxing. Now, I sense myself slipping back into that dark hole. Alongside my love for her, there's also an intense hatred directed towards her and the other guy. I've been considering confronting him and causing him harm, but my friend has advised against it. I recognize that my emotions are currently in control, which is why I decided to separate myself from my wife in our apartment for a while to allow logical thinking to take hold. I know that if I see her crying, I might start feeling sympathy, and I want to avoid that. At this point, my logical side suggests pursuing a divorce, but I'm still not completely certain. I've pondered whether I'll ever be able to trust her again, and honestly, I don't think I can. Let me tell you, I pride myself on being a fair-minded person. I always try to understand both sides of the story. That's why I'm struggling to make sense of this situation with my wife. She's always been intelligent and mature, so I can't wrap my head around why she would do something like this. She keeps telling me it meant nothing and she deeply regrets it. But then, why did she do it in the first place? I've been pressing her for answers, but all she keeps saying is that she doesn't know, and it was a momentary lapse in judgment. But a year-long lapse? It's made me question everything now. I'm wondering if I've wasted years of my life for nothing. I'm questioning whether I'll ever be able to trust another woman again. Right now, I can't even picture myself in another relationship. I'm not naive enough to believe that people are infallible, but what's the point of committing yourself to someone if they're just going to find someone else? Anyway, that's it. I had to let all this out somewhere, even online. Not sure yet what my next step is, but at the moment I can't see the marriage lasting. Her mother, whom I really like, has called me thrice, but I haven't answered. I haven't told anyone about it except my close friend that I'm staying with. I do have screenshots of the emails, texts between them as proof in case I need it. Update: There are a few important developments I want to share. Firstly, I've made the decision not to confront the other guy. It was just my emotions getting the best of me in the moment. Secondly, I will be getting an STD test and insisting that she does the same. No compromises when it comes to our health. Right now, I'm leaning towards separating because I can't envision ever seeing her in the same light again. I still need more time to think and process everything before having a serious conversation with her. In addition, her mother reached out to me, asking me to call her. She has always been a kind and nurturing person, so I plan to have a conversation with her before speaking to my wife. Update. Yesterday, I took a long walk and returned the call to my mother-in-law. I didn't delve into the specifics, but I did inform her that her daughter had been involved with someone else behind my back for a significant period of time. Understandably, she was upset, but fortunately, she didn't try to pressure me into staying with my wife. We had a lengthy conversation, and she suggested that I reach out to my wife, but I made it clear that I will only do so when I feel ready to have a conversation. As I was walking across a bridge on my way back to my friend's place, I had a fleeting thought of jumping off. It crossed my mind for a split second, but I immediately dismissed it and chuckled to myself. It's astonishing how our minds can conjure up such thoughts in difficult times. Anyway, I've decided that either tonight or tomorrow night, I'll have a serious conversation with my wife. Honestly, my mind is pretty much made up, and I'm leaning heavily towards asking for a divorce. I've thought long and hard about it, and I just can't envision a future where I won't hold some level of resentment if we stay together. I'll give her the opportunity to express her thoughts and feelings, and then I'll share my decision. I'll provide an update after our discussion, depending on how things unfold. Update. So my wife and I had a conversation, but to be honest, I didn't delve into all the questions that were suggested by users in the original thread. I realized that I didn't really want to know the answers to some of those questions, like whether they use protection considering our plans to have a child in the near future. Instead, the only question I asked her was a simple, why? I had actually asked her this question before through text, and I gave her a couple of days to really think about it. Well, we went for a walk together and had a long conversation. She explained that the other guy kept pursuing her, and eventually she started developing feelings for him. She admits that it was an immature and stupid decision on her part. She felt terrible after the first time, but they ended up seeing each other again after a few weeks. She assured me that she has completely cut off contact with him. Throughout the conversation, she appeared visibly upset, and I have to admit, I felt a strong sense of anger towards her, although I kept my composure and didn't raise my voice or show my anger. I just wanted to have an honest discussion. After she explained her reasoning, I asked her what she thinks we should do. She said she has been struggling to sleep for the past few days and has been searching the internet for books and advice on how to make amends for her actions. I expressed to her that I don't think I'll be able to view her in the same light anymore, and I don't want us to end up being a couple who are simply living together as roommates. I also made it clear that regaining trust seems like an impossible feat for me. She then started rambling about various techniques for rebuilding trust, some of which were mentioned in my initial post, like tracking her through GPS and having access to all her personal devices. I swiftly rejected that idea, stating that it's an unhealthy and impractical way for both of us to live, and that neither of us would want that. I made it clear that I didn't sign up to be her prison guard, but her husband. We walked in silence for a while before I finally spoke up and suggested that we should rip the Band-Aid off and get a divorce, allowing both of us to move on separately. She didn't say anything, but tears started to fall silently. I accompanied her back to our apartment and said goodbye. She asked if there was a chance I would reconsider, and I reiterated that even if I were to eventually forgive her for the affair, I would never be able to trust her as a husband trusts his wife. In a moment of frustration, I regretfully mentioned that I would never trust another woman again. I informed her that I would initiate the divorce proceedings and we could proceed from there. Well, it seems like this is the end of the road. I haven't had any interaction with the other guy, although a part of me secretly wishes I would bump into him and he would make the first move for whatever reason. When I do have the chance to speak with my wife again, I'll suggest that she contacts the other guy's girlfriend and inform her about what happened. Although I don't have any means to reach her since I don't have social media or her phone number. So here I am, at the age of 27, about to become a divorcee. What a wonderful addition to my resume, right? I don't really feel much at the moment, but I have a feeling it'll hit me like a ton of bricks once the divorce is official.